Today we're working on 94 Ford F250 turbo diesel 7.3 liter IDI engine. Today I'm going to cover the testing of the glow plugs so we can determine if they're good or bad in the truck before we remove them and also after we remove them. Also the components themselves. I'm replacing my burnout ones with these diesel RX glow plugs. There's the part number for you. And this is what it looks like. It's got the ceramic tip down here. It says part number right there on the end of it. And this is where, this end right here is where your 12 volts hooks up, and it grounds through the block on the threads. Original OEM for these parts is the Baru ZD9 glow plug. Essentially the same thing. These are supposed to be special in that they have a dual tip inside, dual heating element. Not too certain on them, but I do know they work in my experience equally as well as the Barus. I go through these roughly once or twice a year because I'm running waste oil in my truck here. So it shouldn't be the case, but I have the timing advanced, so they do burn out a little quicker. So here I've got my alligator clip to the end, and I'm going to touch this end to the body, and you can see that I get 0.2 ohms on the reading. If I remember correctly, anything under is it like 2 to 3 ohms? Anything over 2 to 3 ohms is going to be bad. So to start this process off, we're going to want to remove the intake manifold here, the filter housing, and the part that goes back to the turbo, so we can easily get to all the parts here. And basically all we really need is a small crescent wrench, Phillips screwdriver, and I use a 1/4 inch kit. The only special parts about my 1/4 inch kit are this flexible extension here, universal joint type deal, and this super long extension here. And then you'll want to use the deep 10mm socket here for the actual glow plugs themselves. And another item you'll want is a pair of needle nose pliers here so that you can reach some of the wire caps that go onto the end of the glow plugs, because some of them are really hard to get to. Okay, so something else I wanted to show you guys was kind of a symptom of bad glow plugs. I use a manual style push button for my glow plugs, and so as you can see, my battery voltage right there, and when I push my glow plug button, it moves a little bit, but it should move a lot more than that. So that's how I know my glow plugs are bad, plus it results in hard starting. Side note is regarding power, since we are messing with 12 volt system here, which is DC power. You can disconnect the batteries, but essentially unless you engage your solenoid, your glow plug solenoid right here, you shouldn't have 12 volts on your glow plugs, so you should be okay to do this without disconnecting power, but it's up to you. In the eyes of safety, you should always do it though. Okay, so intake manifold is removed here. The 2 bolts that go right here, they can be removed with at least on my truck, a 14mm socket. Everything I have is kind of metric, so sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Now we're going to get to removing the glow plugs. There are these little brown wires here with the white caps, and we'll show you how to test those. And you just pull the caps off. There's 4 on each side, little wiring harness like this, 8 total. And now we're going to test the very first one, and I have it connected to the tip there. Test to the block, 0.5 ohms. That one is good. So right here is a situation. This is the second glow plug back on the driver's side. You can see here under these fuel lines is a scenario where I have to use my swivel socket there to be able to get into the glow plug. So the two most notably difficult glow plugs to get to are on the passenger side here. Again, 4 on the passenger side. There's one down here by the filter housing, one right here in front of the turbo, and then I don't know if I can even see it on this. There's one right back there under the turbo, and then another one right back in there, that little white thing, under the wastegate there. Those two are a pain in the butt to get to. Okay, so I've got all 8 of my glow plugs replaced. Anytime you replace them, I recommend replacing all 8 glow plugs. And out of 8 of them, I had one good one, you can see right here. And I kind of did something that's slightly unadvisable. This is a Baru ZD9 made in Germany. This was the only good one. Actually looks like it's in pretty good shape. But for some reason on my truck, the position 1 on the driver's side front glow plug has always been the good one for me. It never goes bad, so that's where this one was. So I kind of suspect that's why. Not sure why that's the case. Anyway, all these other ones were the bad ones. You can see they look kind of pretty nasty. There's another Baru right there. The rest were Diesel RX. It's what I had at the time, so that's what I used. Something else that's notable on these, part of the reason I went with Diesel RX, they're half the price of the Barus. I can get a set for about $45, where the Barus I can get for $90. Something you'll get with cheaper plugs, the tips, right, as you can see the tip, the orange part on these other ones will swell on cheaper ones, specifically Autolite, Champion, stuff like that. The Diesel RX, I have not had a problem with the tip swelling, and neither I haven't had it with the Barus either. So I can replace, you know, the Diesel RX ones or the Baru ones. They last about the same amount of time, so to me it's kind of a wash. Save more money with the Diesel RX. But the whole job takes me about an hour to do. But you know, someone new and inexperienced, never done this before, it might take an hour and a half, 2 hours. But it's a pretty quick and simple job. A little intimidating at first, but overall pretty easy. So one other final note on these is that the threads are pretty fine, so they cross thread easily. So be careful when you're threading them in. I've never had a problem with them getting carboned up, but I've heard that being a problem. There's a little bit in there, but it's never really caused me an issue. And once you get them started, get them tight. I use a kind of a good and tight German torque specs, good and tight, you know, but don't over torque them because they can strip, and that's, you know, you're dealing with the head here, so replacing a head or having to deal with the strip thread in the head is never a fun process. So just use, you know, once it's tight, stop there, you know, put a little bit of schmutz on it, but you don't need to go too hard. I'm sure there's an official torque spec on it, but I really don't know it. Okay, so I got everything put back together here. Intake manifolds back on. You can see the turbos hooked up. A lot of times to get this intake manifold on and off, where it connects to the turbo here, it's this kind of funny shaped deal here. You got to take off this sensor. I believe that's your fuel pressure sensor wire right here, because it just kind of sticks out and gets in the way a little bit. Make sure you get that put back on, or your truck will run a little funny. So yeah, let's hop in the cab and start this baby up. Okay, so turn the truck to the start position. Like I said, I have a manual glow plug, so the wait to start light doesn't come on until you push the button, and you can see the voltage drops quite a bit more. So we'll hold it in for a few seconds, That should be good. And give her a try. She comes to life.